stop studying anatomy. Seriously, if you want your art to look like a Guweiz, the traditional approach to learning anatomy is actually one of the slowest ways to get there. Because after spending more than 40 hours going through his course on Coloso, I have finally managed to uncover why some anatomy looks like a plastic action figure, while his looks like a cinematic snapshot from a film. And the answer is one I haven't ever heard before on YouTube. So to start off, I'll be following along with his initial steps outlined by his course, by sketching the concept. And here's where most of us make the first big mistake. We usually start off by trying to draw a perfect pose. We worry about the head size, the muscles, the proportions. But Guweiz's course starts with concept building and storytelling. He doesn't ask where does the bicep go, he asks what is the story here. So following his lead, I'm not just drawing a girl standing there, I'm drawing a moment. This immediately changes how you approach anatomy. You stop trying to show off your muscle knowledge and you start trying to sell the gesture and movement. This is placement composition. We are placing the character in a way that feels candid, not posed. For my sketch, I'm using a rough brush just like Guweiz, no fancy details yet, just trying to capture that same cinematic composition. In the roadmap, Guweiz specifically pairs sketching with environment setting. This is a crucial detail that's easy to miss. Guweiz shows that the anatomy changes depending on the environment. Like, is the ground uneven? Then her weight shifts to reflect that. By creating even a rough environment setting during the sketching phase, you force your anatomy to react to gravity and physics, which automatically kills that stiff, floating mannequin look. Now, before we touch any lighting or shading, we have to talk about the most critical steps for clarity, and that is the silhouette. In the roadmap, specifically under grayscale section, Guweiz emphasizes the importance of reading. This is the secret to why his characters look good even from a distance. Most beginners try to define anatomy with lines for the body, but Guweiz defines anatomy by the outside shape. Like, if you fill your character in with a pure black, does it still look like a warrior or does it look like a blob? Is your pose readable? This is easy to check by taking your sketch and blocking it in with a solid dark color in order to check the shape. I'm making sure the limbs are distinct and the pose has a clear line of action. If the silhouette is weak, then anatomy is weak. No amount of rendering can fix a bad silhouette. By ensuring the reading is clear at this stage, I'm doing 80% of the anatomical work without even drawing a single muscle. Okay, now that we have our values, we can add the cinematic part. In his course, Guweiz breaks down lighting into categories like dark and moody or bright and warm. For this piece, I'm going for that classic dark and moody Guweiz vibe. And this is where the real anatomy happens. We aren't drawing lines for muscles, we're defining edges, forms, and structures using light. This is the biggest mindset shift. Stop drawing the body parts and start drawing the shadow cast by the body part. Guweiz emphasizes understanding light values as the key concept for realistic renderings. A hard edge on a shadow tells the viewer this is a bone, like the cheekbones or the elbow. A soft edge tells the viewer this is soft tissue, like the cheek or the thigh. By using a hard brush to carve out these shapes, you can create that sharp, confident anatomical look he's known for. For anatomy, a dark and moody setup is actually a cheat code. It allows you to use heavy shadows to hide the complex insertions of the arm or the neck, focusing the viewer's eye strictly on the light plane of the face and shoulder. The purpose of this isn't to hide mistakes, it's to direct the viewer's eye to where they should focus on. This selective lighting is what makes the image feel cinematic rather than medical. When Guweiz finally moves to character drawing, he still doesn't switch to line art. In his curriculum, he lists character anatomy right next to gesture because he paints anatomy as mass, not outline. He paints the volume of the deltoid and the cylinder of the arm directly with a large brush. And he treats digital painting like a clay, and this push-pull technique allows him to maintain the dynamic energy he established earlier. By refusing to rely on line art, he forces the anatomy to look heavy and grounded, avoiding the cartoon sticker look that lines often create. This technique of painting with mass ties directly into maintaining dynamic energy. When we draw lines, we tend to stiffen up because we're trying to define the boundary of the muscle. But when you paint with a large brush, you are defining the weight of the muscle. Guweiz pushes and pulls the paint, adding volume to the thigh, carving it like back with a razor until it feels heavy. It's a sculptural process. This prevents the character from looking like a flat sticker on a background and makes them feel like a solid object occupying scale and proportion in the world. Now we enter the character drawing phase. This is where we actually refine the character anatomy. But again, the focus here isn't on medical accuracy. According to the curriculum, we need to focus on shape, edges, perspective, and lighting details. So I'm looking at my sketch and asking, are these shapes simple enough? Beginners tend to over-render muscles, making characters look lumpy. Guweiz simplifies. He doesn't draw every rib. He draws the single unified form of the rib cage. He doesn't draw every strand of hair and instead draws the neon-like shape of the hairlock. I admit, this part is hard. Guweiz makes it look easy, but maintaining realistic texture and reflections on clothes whilst still keeping the anatomical forms solid is definitely not easy. But because we focused on gesture and forms already, the character feels solid, not like a balloon. So the biggest takeaway from this study, stop trying to draw perfect anatomy. Start trying to draw cinematic anatomy instead. When you focus on the movement, the scene, and the light, character naturally has more flow. If you want to try this workflow yourself, I've left a link to the brushes I've used in the description, and you can check Guweiz's course on Coloso as well, using my special discount in the description. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.